Hey there everybody, this is Huguenot reviewing the H-block habitation buildings. Just wanted to show you sort of the full nature of these buildings. First of all, why are they built like this? They are built like this because I wanted buildings that you could reach into, that you didn't have to take to pieces in order to fully utilise the interiors. That's why you get things like big windows. And this is what I mean by big windows. We've got whole areas left out, so just imagine there's sort of like a micro fine edge around this door, which actually, I mean, you can do it in modern buildings. You can get virtually like buildings that look like they're glass side with just very thin lines drawing out, and in this scale you won't be able to see the line. So just imagine these whole areas are actually glass, so there's like tons of light being allowed into flats, and more significantly they allow for this to happen. I can now reach in and I can place my miniatures directly into a room. I've got quite a lot of reach in space, so it's pretty easy to get in there. The other thing about these buildings is doors. All the doors are hinged, so you can open and close them easily. Also, they're made big enough, so in theory I can push the miniature through the door, interior space. And look, I can, it's amazing. I can open a door, which is the front door to the building. If I can get a grip, I can get a mini, I can move it out so they're stood in the doorway. So it gives complete freedom of movement in that respect. From here you can see that you have complete access to the interior stairwell, and also I can place miniatures like partway down the stairs. So although they're not perfect stairs, they are built in a way where like you can pretty much utilise the entire stairwell. Now in terms of, got to be careful. In terms of real life scale, you could fit that same stairwell into half the space in real life relative to the building, and in fact the building proportions would change. But for the purposes of building for miniatures, also all of these doors slide, so you can open and close doors. Yeah, as well as having the main entrance, we have a door here which leads out into the parking area, which I'll just try and... So that door leads straight out to the parking area, as does this door. So that means you can use all of this. Also, because the door is in place, apart from to the left hand side of the top block, you've got line of sight blocking at the 4th story, or 3rd story if you're in the UK. No, 4th story, 3rd floor. 4th floor in the US, I think. And again, if that door is open, you gain some additional line of sight, and you can just sort of see the ladder. So depending on your angle, you get different line of sight. Moving on to the back of the buildings, you've got the balconies. These balconies allows you to get all the way up the back end of the building. You've got roughly 3 inches between balconies, so you can fit these guys. I don't actually have any here, but the balconies are just big enough to squeeze in a 40mm base as well, so you can fit in your drones, etc. Also, the windows. This is like the fire escape on these balconies, really. I've just maybe overdone it a bit, but it's because I want it to function for miniatures. So you can use the windows then for access to the flats. Well, you could have rules where you need to break the window or what have you before getting into, like cost an action to open a window or what have you. But this just allows, you've got access from the front of the building through the front door, where you have cover, but you also have access up the back of the building. So you've got access from most sides, but also if you are looking at it from one side, you do have an awful lot of line of sight blocking terrain there on the vertical. So these buildings really do block line of sight, but they still facilitate a lot of fields of vision, and they facilitate a lot of cover and a lot of different access points. So like over here you can see this panel here effectively blocks out like most of the line of sight coming from that direction. The one thing you will note about these buildings is they are not tag friendly. The parking bay, which is at ground floor here, I don't have any tags here, but they're 3 inches tall, so most tags will be able to like fit just inside them. But if you've got a tall tag or a tag posed with a weapon pointing directly upwards, that could prove problematic to fit them in. So here we've got a wildcat looking through a door on the rooftop, out onto the rooftop. You can just see the ladder in the background, and beyond that you've got line of sight to an intruder. And if I just come up though, see the intruder stood in front of a building, and behind that building there is a Hellcat. And so you can see how the top parts of the stairwells leading up onto the roofs actually provide a lot of interesting cover dynamics and possible interactions. If this wildcat closes this door, then they'll be safe from the intruder, and the intruder will be safe for them as well. Another example of blocking line of sight is here we've got an intruder. Back there, there's an open door, and behind that open door is an Hacker. So again, you've got quite a lot of variety in the way you can use this terrain. The way you open doors can matter, the way you interact with the scenery will matter a lot. Okay, so I hope you like these buildings, you understand why they're made the way they are. Hope you find this useful for any designing of model buildings that you want to make for your games. And I hope you like the principle, the idea of making buildings you can reach into so that you don't have to take them to pieces, but still provide all the kind of cover options and line of sight blocking options you really want. So then I'll just give you a quick gander around the side of this one, because this is probably the dodgiest in terms of the colour scheme. The colour schemes are maybe a little bit odd in times, but I think they actually work. That's like a dark purple and blue. That was like the most odd colour combination. It kind of works though, I like it. The other reason for these colours is I have a yellow block, a red block, a purple or blue block and a green block. And that makes easy identification for stuff. So this is just showing them how they might be set up or what have you. And I just want you to realise that this mat that they're on is 4 foot by 4 foot. Well, it's 4 foot wide, sorry. It's not 4 foot long. But each of these squares that you can see are about 16 inches by 16 inches. So if you actually lay these up with sort of like enough space for roads or what have you in between, you can start to see how much space they actually take up. If I just move this one in a bit, so you've got like, say you've got a road zigzagging through the middle, it's sort of, you can see they're going to block line of sight. They're going to give you a lot of different firing places, a lot of different ways of accessing and moving through them. I really want to keep this looking like somewhere real, like a real sort of city. And I'll just take you down to ground level. You can start to see as I look. I mean, and come around cover. Got some shots through the windows, but then disappearing again, moving around, get different angles. So that's just like one idea, and it just shows you that this takes up most, well, at the minimum 1/3 of a 4 foot by 4 foot playing area, which gives me most of my ground coverage. And I know that these are 4 identical buildings, but it's also because if you set these up as densely as you may wish to set them up, this is about as dense as I think I'd get them, so there's a road running down through the middle, or at least some kind of public foot area. They take up about, I don't know, 3 feet by 2 feet, which gives you a sense of scale, and that's allowing for a road to run through the middle, or at least to run in at either end with a public footpath running through a chunk of it. And then there's just one last thing to make note of. These floors are about 3 inches, right? So that's 3, 6, 9, maybe 10 inches to the top. So if someone's here and they super jump, the best you're going to manage to super jump is from here up to about here, and that's if you've got a 6 and a 4 movement, and most people only have a 4/4 movement, so they'll only be able to super jump up to here. And this makes it kind of interesting, I think, because especially if you have a situation like over here where you have a couple of things, what you might find is someone super jumps up to here and then super jumps over to here. And so you have interesting ways of using the buildings, which brings a bit more of the infinity rules into play. So I hope this has been of use to you, and you think that the design ethic as such on these buildings, the roofs do come off, just because sometimes you want access to those bits. I hope this has been a good modelling guide, and you think these buildings are useful and worthwhile. I mean, it's taken me 2 weeks. I don't know, about 100 hours and I don't know, 40, maybe 50 quid. That's British pounds sterling for people who don't know, to build these. So I hope you think it's been worth a while and it's been enjoyable for you to see the process. And if you do want to make them, check out the Habitation block assembly and painting guide. So cheers everybody, have a good and take care, enjoy your modelling. Bye bye.